Hello and welcome back. It is day 2 of the Thunder Cup, the Esports Empire Thunder Cup series. This, of course, being the Group B preliminary round, looking to see which 7 teams will be making their way on through in towards the grand finals. My name is DK, and with me, of course, is the ever lovely Highland Wolf. How are you doing today, bud?
I'm doing good, and of course, yes, we start through on day 2 of Group B of the Thunder Cup preliminary stage, and we've already had 4 games here, DK, that have been hype, and especially for the likes of FaZe CLAN, and big expectations for them coming in, leading out the overall leaderboard. 75 points, 2 wins yesterday, a 2nd place yesterday as well, and they are looking dead set strong. Yes, we just kind of flush away their final game on Miramar and FPP, but when you look at the first 3 games, they look damn fantastic.
Yep, and it was a pretty crazy day that we had just in yesterday. And of course, we did see the overall standings showing up during the prep coming into the broadcast here today. And of course, already that leaderboard is starting to look pretty damn spicy. FaZe CLAN, as you've said, they were just popping off, already bringing in 2 chicken dinners in yesterday's matches, already starting off so strong. But this is where we look to see whether or not the players from BANGKRIRK Esports and REVENANT will be able to bring in any of those chickens today, as they, of course, now are right up in 2nd and 3rd place, but no chicken dinners just yet.
Definitely opportunity for all of these teams so here, DK, to be able to grab themselves inside that top 7 today. And even a team that I think I'm definitely going to be looking at as we do head over for what is a very central, straight north to south playing path for game number 1 on Erangel is a team of Join Me Black. Now, Join Me Black, they had a very dodgy, let's say, first 3 games here starting off yesterday, but in their last game specifically, it might be because Miramar on the last game is FPP and not TPP. However, they did look a lot stronger overall. They were definitely starting to get better in team fights, and of course they are still sat at 17th position overall, but those 12 points that they got, those were from 1 game alone, and if they can muster that up in 4 games today, they're not too far behind when you think about it. That 7th place position, 1 good game, few kills on board, they're straight back into contention.
Yeah, a lot of potential for a lot of crazy contention to come in today, as we now, of course, see the teams all starting to make their way on down, with the zone popping up in down towards the southeast. So a fairly interesting zone and flight path we've got here. Nothing too out of the ordinary, but now, of course, we're going to be looking to the teams to see how they are going to try and rotate through the zone and potentially set themselves up for the coming phases. We already see quite a bit of potential aggression, of course, now happening up in it towards the north, as we have the players here now from Team TAMILAS now taking aim, putting in the shots, really looking to find a few of those early game points.
Is a solo player of AKUMA, unfortunately out of the rest of those 3 teammates in Yasnaya Poliana. You see, of course, one of them moving over, KTS, but look also DRS, they're in the way, which means AKUMA, they've already effectively going to lose 1 player. KTS effectively also going to move straight back into the compound. There's no saving the rest of AKUMA, should I say, here on Flux, because if Lux does unfortunately go down, you can't revive him, and as a result, now you lose 1 player because of the fact you went for such an interesting 3-1 split. You do obviously have the player going down, and Flux unfortunately will be able longer to participate in this game. And DRS so effectively also rotating away down to Roshawk. But as we look back through to this zone here, DK, and this is what interests me about this zone, not the contention even down to the south here, as we do have to keep an eye on Alpha 1, where they are going in between the side of Galaxy Racers, but more so how teams enter the zone, and the fact that you can, of course, go nevertheless through that western bridge down through the South Island and back up into the eastern side. And depending, of course, if this zone does, yes, also shift through into that eastern side specifically. The teams coming out from that west, like Seal and the rest of these congested teams, definitely a few options for them. And to avoid what we've just seen happening right here, the unfortunate team rotating into each other early on.
Yeah, and of course, now speaking about unfortunate, we see a few players now meeting a very early unfortunate end, as the team here from A1 already managing to find quite a few kills already sitting on 4. Of course, now they're going to be looking to pick up several more, as we see the players here, of course, from Galaxy Racer right behind them. So a pretty tough start for some of the players here. But now, of course, we're going to be looking to see whether or not Galaxy Racer is going to try and push onto the side of A1 and potentially send them packing.
Of course, when we look towards Alpha 1, when we look towards Galaxy Racer also suffering the same issue here, DK, where MJ, they're stuck inside this tower. Yes, they've got great vision on where Alpha 1 are currently sitting, but how does MJ actually escape through on top of their hillside? They don't have a vehicle in play. They're going to have to walk that back to the rest of their team. Yes, you also have Max Cash overlooking that hill, but it is still nevertheless very, very difficult indeed for the rest of their team to regroup. And those other two members up way to the north, Rox and also Ultron, unable to help, as Alpha 1 already setting up for a potential dive, but it will also be even more fighting. AKUMA losing 1, you said Raptors also losing 1, but now also the likes of Illuminate, they're also taking casualties.
Oh, and you're expecting that to only become rather more of a problem, as the teams are looking to secure a position in this next few phases. And of course, quite a few hits now lighting up the kill feed there, as we can see, of course, the teams still just going at it. But now Max Cash putting a few shots up into the side there of Sinister, looking to pick up the hits, looking to pick up the hurt, and of course bring in those points alongside them. But I'm really liking the rotation coming in here from Galaxy Racer, the way that they've decided to descend down upon the players here from A1. Really strong showing of the aggression there, and of course really well positional play, just how they're executing it.
And unfortunately for Galaxy Racer, yes, right, they spent too long trying to go in. They are, unfortunately, though, for the side of Alpha 1, going to be able to find these kills. Nevertheless, Alpha 1 splitting themselves even further.
Oh, I mean, yeah, that is quite a bit of a split coming in. And now Galaxy Racer just swooping in to clean them out. Mac goes, so 2 of the players already, as we can see Jackson Sinister now biting the dust, ready to fight yet another zone. But as we now hop down in towards the Sosnovka Island, this is where we see the players, of course, now making their way on through. And we're looking to see what could be coming in from the side here of the team from Illuminate.
Unfortunately, Illuminate, though, DK, they've already lost 1 player. Yes, they're trying to find those extra knocks onto Infinity back in time, but the revives are coming through, and this does make it tricky. You do, of course, have Revuso on the front line. We'll also have Crypto there, too, but it's now a case of movement in those audio cues of Infinity moving around that rooftop. The more they keep moving and searching aimlessly for these kills, the rest of Illuminate, they just have to stand still. They need to keep quiet. They need to create no chance for the rest of Infinity to be able to search them out. They need to slowly crawl their way back together, and they need to be able to take this 2v1 against Infinity. The rest, of course, of their team already down. Johnny and Besom, unfortunately, did bite the dust, but Infinity here, knowing, I think, now through the 4 games in particular, DK, as that team who really does take those early game kills, provides those upsets, but Infinity as well, they need these points. They haven't been able to translate those early kills into high placement points, and this is something they're struggling for. Still, we even know that kill onto Brevos is something we need to come back for.
Well, Infinity really coming in with a vengeance here as they swoop through, cleaning up Sosnovka, and of course claiming the squad wipe right there. But now as we hop up in towards Yasnaya, we see yet again quite a bit of chaos unfolding, as the players here from DRS have been trying to fight things out with the side here of AKUMA. Right now, AKUMA already 1 man down, looking to make a bit of a push now back up onto a little bit of a stronger rotation, a stronger angle. They are already positioned within the zone, but the blue zone is, of course, now busy closing on up, and they're now taking this opportunity to find a decent setup for that potential second phase.
An interesting rotation through from DRS. We look at their movement on the map. They were initially actually heading down towards the Roshok, towards the school apartment side, but because early on there was also teams set up in those locations, DRS, they turn straight back. They actually go towards Yasnaya Polyana, as you can see, sitting on the edge of zone, but also they're the same line of sight coming through for AKUMA. They understand that DRS are there, and the fact that teams from Roshok, teams from school and apartments, because it is on the edge of zone, it's less likely to be gate kept. It's a risky decision, but it does pull off for the side of AKUMA. They're able to find themselves once again on the edge of zone as well, and that zone does shift over towards the eastern side, and this is where we in particular talked about those rotations from teams coming back in over that eastern bridge, and one of those teams in particular, Revenant, now going to have to make that crossing, but already Beta Sentinel are also anticipating this move. They're already setting up along this coastal line. However, Beta also needs to be careful. See what happens when you try gatekeep teams in the first game yesterday, where Infinity actually were able to third party those trying to gatekeep that bridge specifically onto Alpha, and Beta need to be careful that doesn't happen to them when you also then have behind them the side of Team Mayhem.
Oh, man, we're just expecting absolute carnage to come from this zone. That shift looking absolutely beautiful, but of course now 14 teams remain. And as we now look over towards the players here from A1, they are looking up towards the side there, of course, of the players from the BANGKRIRK Esports, who are also now making their rotations, looking to push deep into the face, deep into the zone, find that position, and then of course look to potentially fortify this, whichever compound it is they find. So some interesting moves coming on through as the teams are exploring the zone, looking to see which of these compounds are open for the taking, which ones are up for grabs. But of course this is where things are going to get pretty spicy, pretty tough, as we see now down over towards that eastern bridge. The action about to start breaking down as the teams are getting so close once again. But now, this is where we look to see what the players from Revenant Esports will be able to do. Will they be able to get that push in on towards the Beta Sentinels?
Definitely the push onto Beta is not the right decision, ODK. They need to actually use Encore, who already has established a position over on the gas station, to be able to rotate along the beach on the south part of the island, to continue their way into actually what you could also anticipate over to the Infinity. I think that, the side of BANGKRIRK Esports, because they, yes, they're going to be alongside that coastline too, but should be moving also towards farm, and it's much easier to take a compound, as you can see just to the left of them on that western side, which is what the side of Revenant are rotating to, because if you try to go into Beta, the problem being you've also got Team Mayhem ahead of you, who actually have a brilliant off angle over on side the Milta compound itself, even if you try to use that ridge line, which is just going to result in death and getting third parties for Revenant. So it is a heads up play to use Encore and use the vision to avoid potential team fights.
Yeah, that was it's going to be a pretty tough call for these teams to make. But now, as we hop back over on towards the players here from A1, I mean, we can see right up ahead of them, we of course have Joker, the last remaining hopeful, the last remaining player here for the side of SKYLIGHTZ Gaming, who's now looking to potentially creep on up on his teammates to get those raises in, but the confirms are finding their way on through as A1 is now applying the pressure, and Joker now facing quite a bit of a challenge, as there's still quite a bit of potential, quite a bit of danger just on the opposite end of this little ridge.
Still, A1, they do miss out on those grenades, not going to land. That smoke as well, going to block the vision in favor of SKYLIGHTZ. Yes, they will not be able to figure out where A1 are coming from, but definitely the rock that was protecting A1 also going to effectively harm them. Joker also barely able to get that vehicle into safety. However, Clary did not go for the back as well, and as a result, now Clary is stuck in a position where that smoke will dissipate that they initially put down. A1 has then the favor of the smokes in the team fight, and Clary has a tricky position to actually rotate back from. Will will go for it potentially now, but that vehicle definitely so important for the side of SKYLIGHTZ. They do have a 2v1 advantage, and that's why, of course, they are going to be overlooking that. However, for them, not knowing if they won our solo team, if they've not been checking our kill feed, they could also be anticipating potential third party from those barn houses just towards the north of them.
Yeah, and of course now as we look to see where the next phase is going to be going, things are looking to start heating up onto the side there of Revenant as their hits now finding their way on through. The hurt now being dialed up once again. But this is where we look to see what the players from BANGKRIRK will be doing. Of course, they're coming into today looking exceptionally strong on the overall leaderboard. But now, man, they are just on a roll, coming in with the bunches, coming in with the hits. And of course, now bringing the pain onto the side here of Revenant as we see Encore now looking for an Encore, looking to find that decent setup in the coming few phases as it is now shifted back up into the northeast. So quite a challenging zone for the teams to look to move up into. But of course, now we can see AKUMA already taking the initiative there to push right on in, passing by so many teams on the way in.
Actually, when it does come to this zone here, though, AKUMA, they do have a brilliant position currently, which Nova are also preparing to try siege, which is around, of course, these shelter hills, and these mounds that you can use as also protection against these teams coming in on the open flats. Now, the side of AKUMA, they have a flat space behind them. They know that they're likely not to be third-partied. Yes, you do have a team there of DRS, but they're not going to really have a great angle to find you upon. However, Nova also anticipating is do go for the 2-2 split onto the shelter compounds. They do take out one of the AKUMA members, and unfortunately for AKUMA, they're not using fully their ridge lines. They're not using the play to their advantage. Almost they're losing another, but they are able to, should I say, get together as a two-man squad. They're going to go into the shelter, and at this point, really, AKUMA, they should probably play for the underground, considering that also the shelter is fairly central inside the zone. It can be safe to assume at this point of the game in phase 3 that the shelter should stay in relative safety of the zone in towards phase 4, phase 5. However, the best thing for AKUMA at this moment in time, DK, is to try hold off on Nova, because if it does go for a hard shift, you do want to keep those buggies available to you.
Yeah, and of course now as we see the team starting to trickle on up in towards the zone, things are looking pretty tough. But of course now FaZe looking to set themselves up with a bit of a gatekeep on towards the edge of the zone. We see a few more hits now coming through there from A1 and DRS. Now feeling the sting, feeling the pressure as the shots find their way on through on towards them. Some good positional plays coming in here. But of course now we want to see what the teams are going to be doing and just how they're going to try and rotate through the zone. Because as we can see, it is sitting up on towards that northeastern side. So there is still some space within the zone for the teams to try and move up into, but it is going to be an absolute challenge for the teams to find a good stronghold angle from which they can fight.
Infinity here suffering the problem that we wished they could overcome, losing players now in the mid-game stage. It will be their team MAYHEM to pick up one confirmed kill. So Infinity, they will be reduced a member. Yes, they also have 4 kills. So this is definitely Infinity's issue. And yes, they also have a good position in the zone. But actually, for Infinity, have one of the best positions in zone, because this zone does shift over towards them. Yes, it actually keeps them relative safety. But even if it did hard shift towards potentially the north side, we still could have rotated around those prison hills, and those prison hills in particular, those are going to be the core point of importance in this next phase 4. Overlooking around where actually Team TAMILAS are, they can go back a little bit, get a little bit of a higher ground position, overlook the prison to the high north, and also then be able to gatekeep teams running around. If they do go for a 2-1-1 split, overlooking that entire ridgeline, 2 members in the middle, 1 on each side, close enough to come back to the rest of those 2 members if possible.
Oh, I mean, but of course now, just looking at the rotations coming in towards the zone, there's so many teams now looking to set themselves up as the zone has now centered up once again. But we see the shots finding their way on through, and of course now the players here, of course, from the side of BANGKRIRK Esports, looking to hold on to their entry onto the south of the zone. Of course, now 12 teams remain, 41 players in this fourth phase, and we're about to see the blue zone start closing up, bringing us to the end of the fourth, taking us into the fifth. And this is where things are going to get pretty spicy, pretty exciting, as we can see, of course, those engagements just following through one after the other in such close succession.
Seal as well, but diving in, but we also have one member behind still to drive in onto the fight. Nova, we've also gone for 1-for-1 trade. We are able to first down one of the Seal members, so that does go towards Nova's hands. But you do also have two of the Nova team, though, far out in the fight, and considering that they are going for such a wide 2-2 split, it is a little bit risky for me. I think they definitely are splitting themselves a little bit too thin. Nova, they do definitely in their position inside the circle, could have gone a little bit harder into that high ground, and unfortunately they are still sat outside of the zone. We have to go uphill in the open. I do fear for Nova coming into these next phases, as well as I think the same for BANGKRIRK. They also have the same problem of not going in hard when he did have priority of that zone when it did initially shift.
Oh, it's going to get even harder for these teams to make a good play, get that good positional positioning coming in. Wow, that's a lot of position, but either way, the teams are going to be looking to set themselves up beautifully, as we see MR5 now taking a few hits as a team here from FaZe find themselves over towards that western side. And there is quite a bit of competition still happening as all 12 teams are looking to squeeze on in. And now we've got that zone shifting up once again. Now things are only getting tougher. So many teams, such a large number of players still remaining in this absolutely minute zone.
And this is why I said BANGKRIRK, Nova, they need to be getting into the zone, because BANGKRIRK, they've only got one option left for them. They have to rotate on that south side through the zone. But the only problem there, DK, is judging by the base of that mountainside, they actually have to go through a very tricky path indeed, where you're going to be split in between two teams, one of Infinity, one of Mayhem, and the solo players in that front line are going to be able to pin you down and pin you against that phase 5 zone. And at this point in the game, when you are in phase 5, the zone does move a lot faster, so you don't have as much time to be able to set yourself up as efficiently.
Oh, and here we go now. The efficiency coming on through. Ah, oh, come on. I want to get into the fights, and now the device is like, no, not working. But of course now, the players here from Join Me Black caught right on the northern edge of the zone, right here alongside Prison. Of course, now they're looking to pick up a hit onto the side there of Reverend. But now Nova positioned right alongside them. There is quite a bit of pressure mounting as they want to also try and secure themselves that position within the coming few phases. And now, as we hop on to the side here of Revenant, this is where things are looking a little bit tough. I mean, such a spread of teams up ahead. It's going to be an absolute bloodbath for these players to try and get into that zone.
And this is also, on the other hand, you mentioned Nova, you mentioned AKUMA's position, why Team TAMILAS should have moved to where these two teams are. AKUMA, they initially started, that's a brilliant drive in by, but there AKUMA were able to trade one back, and unfortunately for them, Team TAMILAS, they're going into two teams where they could have stopped AKUMA, now coming out to the south side or the north side of Prison, coming up the hill. They could have stopped Nova rotating into the zone, and they effectively got a free rotation in between Seals and DRS. And Team TAMILAS, as you can see, because they were late on that rotation, they weren't willing to have the confidence, DK. They're all falling short.
Oh man, Infinity just capitalizing on the carnage down towards the south here. So of course now we see one of the players there from BANGKRIRK getting caught in a very difficult predicament rather, as the players here from Infinity are looking to push on up, looking to pick up the points. But this is where the zone is spread out so thin. Not a lot of positions for these teams to play in anymore. And this is where we're going to be seeing those engagements come through. As of course, who said steps on up, picks up the kill on it to the side there of BANGKRIRK. And now BANGKRIRK has been reduced down to potentially 1. Now this is of course where Infinity will be looking to pick up those points. They're already sitting pretty on 7 points. Of course, I'm pretty sure they're not going to shy away from anymore as they now start taking aim onto the side of Seal 9, who we see caught up on top of the ridge. The numbers starting to dwindle as Monkey is now the last remaining hopeful. The utils getting sent on over, and the pressure is mounting.
I was hoping actually that their also encore for Revenant would have moved in a little bit more towards the zone before Infinity do go for the gatekeep. You have one of those Infinity members heading in, already revealing their position. Unfortunately, getting knocked on board did make a brilliant rotation in. Didn't quite again, the confidence not quite there for them, and this confidence so coming through from Infinity, that's what's buying them this opportunity in this game.
Oh, but here we go now. Nova looking to secure position within zone, of course. Now Memory gets picked on up. Now it is up to Skis or Skies to make this final play. Cyphan also just right behind him. Just fortifying that little approach they have up in towards the zone, but there's not a lot of space to work with here as we've got 4 teams just crammed up in towards the zone, and the players here from Join Me Black are looking to make that play, looking to make that stand, and of course claim that chicken dinner, but it is quite a bit of a challenge as we see the hits now following through in pretty close succession as we had K2E as well as Power getting knocked out. Now it is up to Davan to make the reses for his team and bring in, or give them rather, a fighting chance into these next few phases.
Join Me Black, we said their potential to improve here. They have made it inside the top 4. They've only got, as you say, though, Davan alive. Again, Join Me Black down to the solo player to make the revive. Not able to have it happen before, but they are able to survive for now. At least 2 players before Davan gets knocked. The 1 piece of health coming in, but here come Infinity.
Oh, and they close it up, ending it right there, of course, for the side of Join Me Black. Now, it is Nova up against Infinity. Nova sitting on a 2-man team. Infinity now sitting on 3, but of course, Nova being reduced down to 1. A Cyphan gets knocked out, and Sky's now left to make the play, but of course, gets overwhelmed by the aggression. Down they go, Infinity swooping in for that chicken dinner, and of course, claiming it with 15 kills. 15 big fat ones there for Infinity, and as we said, they needed to clean up their mid-game portion of the game. They certainly were able to do so. They set up a position on the offside of that zone, going in, trying to stop those teams like BANGKRIRK from making those wide southern rotations in when it did go to the north end of that phase 5, phase 6 shift. So Infinity, well done to them, being able to control, of course, the ridgelines, being able to control those hills, and just control exactly where those teams were predicted to go through. And Nova, I think, as well, to an extent, definitely having a smarter piece of aggression coming in through phase 5, siphoning their way in between DRS, in between seals to grab themselves that potential first place. Unfortunately, do have to settle for second, but it's their best result so far. Well, of course, we've got 3 more games to go. Next up, we are going to be heading right over in towards Mermot to see what the teams will bring on our first visit here for the day. It has been an absolutely challenging round to start off the day on right here on Erangel rather. But of course, now as we get ready to move up on towards Mermot, we're expecting to see some pretty impressive plays. We'll, of course, bring you right back into the action after a short break. So stay tuned and we'll see you guys in a short few minutes. Hello and welcome back. We are getting ready to jump straight on into our second match of the Thunder Cup. Oh, preliminary round for the players, the teams here in Group B. Of course, with me is the lovely Highland Wolf. My name is TK, and of course, we're going to be bringing you all the action right here on Miramar. So, Wolf, we've been seeing quite a bit of crazy plays coming in on towards Erangel. Now, as we move into the second day, the first round of Miramar, what are we expecting to see?
Definitely expecting, when it comes to aggression, Infinity to step up here as well on Miramar. We've already seen Infinity be able to step up in the previous game, securing 15 kills, securing the chicken dinner. A big 30-point game and a big win for them overall. But also they're stepping up alongside them, I think, is Nova and Join Me Black. And these two other teams who we said definitely improving over with time, particularly JMB. And I'm expecting them now to be able to also not only control their positioning in zone, which we can see has been proven in the first game, but also their control in team fights, because Nova, and particularly their Join Me Black, not picking up masses of kills. Nova particularly only getting those kills in the final few moments to accumulate to their 6 overall kill points.
Well, it is going to be quite interesting to see, of course, what the teams will bring on the second map. As you can see, the flight path, a near vertical flight path. That is not often that we see a flight path like this, but of course, it is also ever so slightly just off center over towards the western side. So it is going to be a little bit challenging for the teams that like to frequent the east. They, of course, now have to move up in towards those alt drop spots, those alternative angles. But of course, we already see right out the gate few teams dropping straight on down in towards La Drillera, so La Cobrieria, sorry. Now, we're expecting to see the action come on through from that point as the teams are down on the ground so early.
But when it also comes down to the drops on this plane path, Valdemar, Los Higos, that South Island, also very much open for these teams to take. And yes, the zone does go towards the northern side. It's much more favorable for, of course, the likes of Team Talamis over in La Cobreria, also DRS. But it is also note that teams coming off of the south side definitely will have overall a better position entering in. And that's something that we do obviously need to keep in mind going back into the game. We do have a small restart, hoping into the second match, but we should obviously get back in fairly soon, very quickly. And then at that point, by the way, DK, we should, if I don't choke on my own juice here, oh my goodness, I might need a restart at this point, is we will be able to see these teams drop back on once again. Looks like we had an extra team. Not quite supposed to be in the lobby, but we kicked them out, we removed them from the equation, and we're coming straight back in.
Yep, that's how it is. That's how you do it, of course. You know, you got to be careful with that juice as well, though. I mean,
I know, Ryan, deadly.
Return to
Just
sender.
as much as these times, man.
If it's not working the way it's intended to, if it's not going down the right hole, you have a problem.
Starting off, of course, as we do wait here, DK, for our final few moments before we get set back in to the second match. And when we do look at this second match in particular, though, DK, you've said obviously what I think about these teams. Are there any teams that you yourself are looking at that you're interested in?
Ooh, that is an interesting question. I'm looking to see the comeback from Nova, right? I'm looking to see them step up. Yes, we know they are challenging. They are fighting it out with ping and such, right? But we've seen some pretty impressive plays for, well, in my opinion, coming in on the first day. So definitely looking to see a little bit of a comeback as they make their way on through, looking to bring in those points and, you know, just show what they've got. I mean, we got to take into consideration they are coming from the States, right? They are playing from the US, right? So there is a little bit of a, I wouldn't say disadvantage, but let's just call it a
latency.
Yeah. There's a little bit of a latency in there, right? So, but of course, as we know, it is Nova. They have this reputation, this air that comes with them, right? So now we're looking to see whether or not they're going to be stepping up into that. That is what I want to see. I want to see Nova just, you know, flexing a little bit.
When it comes to Novo in particular, we definitely did see what potentially wasn't the greatest games come through from them over on Miramar. So definitely a little bit of a question mark over for my head, looking at how Nova will play going into this game. And of course, where they will drop eventually, of course, this zone going to be different. Eventually, this playing path going to be different. So we'll change a few things, of course, nevertheless, with these teams. However, also expecting these teams to overall stay in the same sort of drop locations that they had previously, especially, of course, if we do see a similar playing path. And when we do look towards teams on the top, we also have to keep in mind that looking towards teams at the bottom, though, DK. And the likes of here, ZEUS, one of those other top teams coming into Group B, is again struggled to start really off in this game. Yes, they've had good one mediocre game yesterday, but they also struggled yesterday when it came to those points. So definitely in need of some extra boost to their overall points on that leaderboard. Otherwise, they start again in that trouble of day 3 that's all resting on those final few games.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see just what the teams will bring us. We're now getting ready to hop straight on over, right back up into the action, and a slight bit of a change coming in on that flight path.
Flight path indeed going to be not down from the north to the south, but instead from the west to the east, all the way over, including the Cavalry over El Azahar. So these teams, as you said, dropping over on the east side. We know there are a few of them. We'll be much more happier with this overall location as well. Cruz de Val, Tierra Bon, Katora, Almada, all of these northern, eastern locations that teams inevitably do drop into will be available to them once again as well. However, when we do look towards those teams in particular who do like to drop down and lost the owners, in particular one of them, Team MAYHEM. MAYHEM struggling, I think, overall when it does come to the overall standings of this Group B. But yes, they have been one of the more stronger teams, but they've not actually really had a good game for them. And the placement points certainly something that is a disparity in their performance.
Well, of course, now with the reset on the round, the teams now have to try and yet again find themselves up into a little bit of a different situation as we see a nice grouping of teams now moving straight up in towards Monte Nuevo and, of course, the surrounding area. This is where we're expecting things to just start popping off as we see quite a few teams in such close proximity already in the early game, and this is where things are going to get pretty spicy, pretty tough for them as well.
Bigly there in between ZEUS and Infinity, the last game's chicken dinner winners. Infinity already off to a good start though.
Oh, here we go now. ZEUS looking to grab a little bit of a weaponry, getting themselves set up, but of course it is the early game, and of course now Infinity, as you've mentioned, finding the head straight on it to the side there of ZEUS, and things looking pretty tough as they get going right out the gate. But Infinity now, of course, going to be looking to continue on their roll, looking to pick up those points. And man, this is a spicy engagement right here in towards Monte Nuevo. And I mean, it's so beautiful to see the players just stepping up, capitalizing on the opponents not being set up just yet.
You would think, well, Mela, they could be in a little bit more danger, but unfortunately for Icy and Amelie, they can't really go in on this because look just above them on the mountainside, DRS alongside their AKUMA also coming in as that third, potentially even fourth party when it comes to engaging onto Infinity. So Wally as well, more in danger here as that solo player. You can see the shots already going in. Does take one pot shot, but won't take multiple. Will be able to rotate nevertheless, but Wally all the way out, and that is also going to be Icy, as we said. The all-threatening danger of DRS on that mountainside will confirm a second from ZEUS.
Oh, I mean, it is going to be quite the challenge here for ZEUS to make a successful stand up in towards Monte Nuevo. As we can see, of course, Amelie now just caught in a really tough sandwich. We got the players there from DRS rather, pushing in from the north, and of course right there on the hills we got the team, of course, from AKUMA looking to push up onto the top as well, challenging them for their spot. And so many teams in the early game position up in towards Monte Nuevo here, so of course it is going to be pretty tough for these teams to make a strong stand and survive into those later phases.
We also saw the side of SKYLIGHTZ Gaming. They did take one knock over by the side of Raptors. So Raptors as well trying to come back, but unfortunately for them, a 1-for-1 trade for now. Heaven holding on strong.
Oh, no. Let's see. DRS Getting the numbers back up, looking to put a stand, looking to apply some pressure now onto the side of AKUMA. But of course, as we see Sin now rotating up to the top, finding the laser shots down below. As Flux also now gets knocked out in the process. But there we go, ZEUS turning up the aggression onto the side there, of course, of Infinity. And now two engagements happening right here up and towards Monte Nuevo. Of course, now the players here from AKUMA managing to secure the points on the side there of DRS. But of course, now just down below, we still have the fight taking place. But now, also, as we look a little bit further down south, over in towards Val del Mar, you can see, of course, the players here from Join Me caught in a bit of a tough angle as the nades come flying through right in towards them. And this, of course, where the players here from BANGKRIRK are using that opening to come swooping and looking in to send them backing. But now, K2E looking to push up the hill, trying to get away from the fight. Fortunately, managing to put a little bit of distance in, and of course, just using the terrain to make that grand escape. But now as we jump back up in towards Monte Nuevo, things are still looking pretty tough for ZEUS.
Still gonna look tough for ZEUS, even tougher, of course, for likes of ZEUS, for the side of Raptors, should I say, who, of course, did end up falling out first once again in the second game to SKYLIGHTZ. And when it does look towards SKYLIGHTZ here, they're not done quite yet, because look at who is coming out of Picardo already. FaZe CLAN, they're on board, they're ready to try and take a third party. Tommy and also MR5 already on one side. Corpay is coming in from that off angle. SKYLIGHTZ, they did take one successful fight, but they have to take another.
Oh, here we go, jumping straight in towards that as we see Beta now pushing up right onto the side of Nova. The aggression just continuing to flow all across Mermon. This is absolutely phenomenal to watch the teams just going at it. Of course, now Beta looking to clean it out, looking to clean house with the players of Nova situated right here in front of them. And of course, now this is wherein steps on up, gets to confirm on towards Mem. But now, will Nova be able to continue on and get the rest of the team here from Beta?
Still, though, it's Nova who are holding on strong. Unfortunately for Beta, they're falling. Unfortunately for the side of falling, Kapayix also coming in for this third party. Unfortunately, therefore, SKYLIGHTZ Gaming will lose now a second in the fight there. DK is all of these teams on all fronts of Miramar trying to step and establish their position in the early game.
It's going to be quite the challenge, quite the fight, as we can see, of course, now Memory coming under fire, looking to find that off-angle approach onto the side there of Beta. But Beta just setting themselves up so exceptionally well within this play here on the terrain, utilizing the hot cover, utilizing the ridges, and of course, now that kill feed just starting to light up once again.
Unfortunately, there you cannot see FaZe CLAN, but taking down SKYLIGHTZ to take them out completely. FaZe CLAN, but was going to keep all four of their members alive. Yes, they had Tony K get knocked, but they'll revive him back up in a beautiful 4 kills coming entrance through from FaZe CLAN to Picardo. Early engagement, early lead. FaZe CLAN once again on the kill feed is unfortunately there. Also, as we said, for Nova, it is Beta surrounding them now as 2 members.
Oh, here we go. Oh, Sky's looking to push and picks up Mitchie. But now, will they get it? Oh, yes, they do. Finding yet another hit straight on through. But fortunately here for the side of Beta, they did send their one player off over in towards the power grid. Just having that off-angle play, that player on the far side, that is what secured them to move up in towards those later phases. So big brain play as they, of course, now utilize the terrain to make their great escape come to fruition. Of course, now the teams are still looking to push further and further up in towards the zone. We've got 2 teams, of course, positioned up in towards Los Leones. 2 teams positioned up in towards the north there. And, of course, now we look to see exactly where the fights are going to be breaking out as we jump on towards the side here of Team TAMILAS.
Prelimns indeed as well. ZEUS going to be the solo player surrounded by all of those Infinity members. ZEUS no longer as well, but as you said, also Prelimns moving in. They're also up against Steel 9. Both of these teams, they need to have a good showing here. They've not had good results in the past. So an important fight here for Prelimns to try find an angle into. But unfortunately for them, Gate kept outside even phase 1. Carry already down and Steel, they control the high ground.
Yeah, I mean, TAMILAS here looking to make the play, looking to make that stand, of course. Now, as we can see, carry there for the side of TAMILAS getting knocked on out. The rest of the squad in the vehicle, getting themselves prepped to push on further. Now they're contemplating whether or not they should try and push up for the res on the side there of carry. But of course, as we can see, that blue zone just up ahead, and of course, just on the inside of zone, we have the team there from Seal9 lying in wait. So definitely TAMILAS gonna have quite a bit of a challenge to get back up in towards that zone.
Phase 2 zone in particular, though, TK is already centralized down over towards the edge of Crater Fields. So unfortunately for them, Seal, you got to assume they start to just rotate back. They should actually, what they'd be doing is now inside the blue zone, leave Telemus, then move in later on to the edge of phase number 2, and anticipate them also coming in directly into you once again. You can then, of course, gatekeep them a second time on that phase 2 point on those Crater Field hills, which definitely still keep that high ground advantage for Seal. But also looking towards the center here, you have an interesting split actually coming through, a 1-1-2 from FaZe, and definitely controlling the mid portion of the central sector of zone. The road that does cut across it, beautiful stuff from FaZe. However, later on into this zone, I do worry for them, as you can see the likes of Nova on that north side having the high ground overlooking them. You have Galaxy Racer on the south also with high ground. AKUMA also over on that west. So only really an eastern shift back to Picardo would actually favor FaZe overall. If it goes towards potentially a northwestern shift in phase number 3, it's bad news for FaZe.
It is going to be a pretty interesting rotation for them to, of course, try and pull off. But as we see so many more teams all rolling up in towards the zone. And Galaxy Racer looking to set themselves up beautifully just south here of the position we see FaZe in. But of course, now we see the players there from BANGKRIRK, of course, scored on that far western side. Over towards the east, we still have a few teams remaining, just lingering out in that blue. Of course, the players there from MAYHEM being one of the teams still looking to find their rotation back up in towards zone. But now, as we can also see, the players there from REVENANT Esports, they are moving up for that central position within the zone.
And when it does look towards that central position, including there, as you said, REVENANT moving in behind Nova. Nova, an interesting split as well. Very far 1-1-1 triangular formation coming out. And that is going to be for the overall vision advantage in this mid-game here, TK. They're looking over those two members of FaZe. They're looking over, of course, the north side here as well from Skis. And as you also said, their team TAMILAS as well. Unfortunately for them, they also, TAMILAS, should I say, going to, I think, struggle more so than others because they are going to struggle moving through such an congested south side overall.
Yeah, it's going to be a pretty interesting rotation to see what the teams are going to bring on through. But now, as we hop on to the side here of Illuminate, we're looking to see where they're going to try and squeeze on up in towards the zone. Of course, they are only now down to 3 players. Of course, losing Crypto a little earlier, but of course now they're looking to find that position, looking for that anchor point. And of course, so far it looks pretty open for them. It is a pretty clear side of the zone here.
When it does open towards that south side of the zone, Galaxy Racer, they are in a position, definitely more so than the likes of FaZe and the likes of AKUMA, to be able to actually move around this zone and have a more flexible future in this game when it comes to those positionings. I think they definitely have set themselves up strong. However, I would actually argue for Galaxy Racer on this south side in particular, they can be expecting those teams to potentially come from Chumacera. They can potentially expect those teams to be coming out from Ladrella. In particular, there you can also see Infinity moving for one of those, or 2 of those members, should I say, down there. So as a result, it does mean that Galaxy Racer, if they choose to spread out just a little bit more, they actually have more vision advantage overall, which is going to also work hand in hand with their good position. And something that you can see Nova doing, as we mentioned previously, up in that northern side. And the reason why Nova are going for such a risky wide split is for that information. However, is these teams also also do move closer to them. I would expect Nova to be moving a little bit closer together to be able to support each other a little bit more as well. Rin very far off compared to the rest of them. It means that Skis and Emery, they can effectively move up, use that ridge line behind them to protect them as they try to come in for a revive against each other, but also particularly because this zone goes hard to that northwestern side. And as we feared for FaZe, now they have a tricky decision on how they want to escape that wide open mid portion of that previous game.
And of course now it is going to be exceptionally difficult for these teams to find a good setup, seeing that we still have 13 teams remaining. And of course now we see the kill feed lighting up as the players there from SEAL9 are sending their hits on through, looking to pick up even more kills as they are positioned so up high, up in towards the north. This could be quite the advantageous position here for Monkey to be playing from. But of course now we've got Senor as well as Sold looking to make a bit of a stand. All of them, of course, situated, just perched so high on up. Oh, it's going to be interesting to see, of course, whether or not they'll be able to find any shots onto the teams down below as everyone else is positioned so far south down.
When it also comes there, unfortunately for them, the side of Illuminate are able to take out MAYHEM even more. MAYHEM, they did go for a very wide split as we predicted down towards Los Leones. Just hasn't quite paid off for them. They're going a little bit too directly into zone. I think rotating around Chumacera by this point does play into their hands a lot easier. But unfortunately, nevertheless, they are down to just Immortal. But when we look towards that zone, DK, the strongest teams in this zone, actually BANGKRIRK and also Seal, they both holding over the northwestern side of Monte Nuevo, and particularly important that they are holding these mountains because in anticipation of a very wide northwestern shift over that flat space in between of those mountains, actually BANGKRIRK, the side of Seal, they're the ones who have the best stand to do so to defend that position overall. Infinity also joining up there, but it is, as we feared, also for the side of Alpha, they move into Nova, and that triangular formation does work for them, but they do reduce Nova to a duo.
Oh, and of course now this is such a challenging terrain to be playing in, as there's quite a bit of dangers as the teams could be looking to move on through. And of course now we look to see how the teams are going to be coping with this. How are they going to try and rotate their way on through, as of course now the players here from A1, they have Sinister down, slowly bleeding out. Nova just hanging around in the vicinity. Of course, everyone else is still also, all the remaining teams are all looking to push in and find those positions. So the teams that we have that are already set up, like of course, as you've mentioned, you know, the teams we've got set up in the north, SEAL9, just beautifully positioned. Revenant also looking good in that centralized position. But now, down in towards the south, this is where things are going to get super challenging. But also, don't forget about the west. We got the players there from the Infinity holding that angle right there alongside, of course, the players from BANGKRIRK Esports.
I think it's smart in one way to put Nia from Infinity down over in the edge of Monte Nuevo. In case, of course, it does go back down to the southwest, you're keeping your options open, as well as the fact that they're positioning through from the rest of Infinity. They're not choosing to go wide in because they know that they don't have that fourth member, if need be, for the situation against BANGKRIRK. But however, they would look to now use Nia as that extra player to find us establishing point over into that zone, over the road into the mountainside. But unfortunately for them, BANGKRIRK as well also doing the same, already starting to make that push in. Join Me Black as well, they're going to fall. FaZe CLAN will be able to eliminate them down out of the game. The solo will die. And as we also mentioned, the most important position held now around that central belt, obviously by the Revenant. And the Revenant here, potentially, if they can hold on to this, bring up Encore onto the rest of them as the side of BANGKRIRK do aggress in, definitely could work out for them. Definitely could secure themselves a game.
Well, it is going to be interesting to see, of course, what the teams do, as we now see the players here from SEAL9 having to rotate all the way back down in towards the zone. They did have a beautiful setup coming into this, but of course now A1 turning up the pressure on towards FaZe, as we just saw FaZe now trying to find their own entry coming in from the south. But of course, we still have Nova in the vicinity, so they have to be pretty careful with how they take these engagements.
But know that they've come back up together. This is what we needed from them. So now it is much trickier for Alpha One to be able to effectively, as a team, dive in on top of them. Unfortunately for AKUMA, though, they're finding out hard way that zone is already taken alongside Galaxy Racer. They're trying to enter in, but Galaxy Racer also in a tricky position where, yes, they have a compound for protection, but they have been stuck now inside of the low ground around those hills, relying on a sudden shift back.
Oh, I mean, it's going to be interesting to see just what the South brings for the side here of Galaxy Racers. We can see the engagements coming through. Just up ahead, we have the players there, of course, from the Revenant, positioned up in towards the north of their position, of their angle. But now, this is where things are going to get pretty challenging, as you've mentioned, of course. Infinity looking to push in from that western front. Of course, we see MJ here just slowly tapping away at the side of Infinity. But fortunately for them, they did manage to just sneak in behind that ridgeline.
I think Encore as well there for Revenant really should have come back to the rest of his team by this point. You do need to be prepared for the side of Infinity diving on top of your other members on the front line. Encore gonna find himself quite stuck now in between Seal, in between the rest of those teams. So Illuminate now also coming in for the north side. BANGKRIRK though, they are suffering knocks. They are suffering the only player realistically with a chance inside the zone. Gonna have to play for the healing strat. Hope we have those first aid kits ready. And for the likes of those open spaces in zone, however, though, DK, it's now Alpha One who have been willing not to go for the fight to Nova. I don't think they need to be able to take this fight onto Nova. They can just push away, allow FaZe to fight around Nova, and Nova to block FaZe out, and then take along that eastern mountain side, where actually you could look down a lot of those teams, for example, like Galaxy Racer, and also Seal9, as they would enter in over that ridgeline.
Yep, Steel9 really trying to find their entry up in towards the north. But of course, over to the west, they've got quite a few teams up ahead of them. Down to the south, quite a few remain. So it is going to be a challenging entry here for the side of Steel9 as they now once again hop into their vehicles, looking to rush straight up in towards zone, set up that anchor point and try to defend it as best they can, as we are now in the 5th phase. Of course, only a few more seconds left until we make our way into the 6th. And that, of course, is when the teams are going to be forced even closer together. But Senor now steps on up, sending the herd over onto the side there of Revenant.
Rin as well for Nova, finding a crucial pick onto a second of FaZe CLAN. FaZe CLAN, they're just struggling, as we predicted, to find a way through into that northwestern shift. A1 as well, they're going to lose Niboy, which also means a death potentially for them. Now only down to Jax, but that phase 5 zone is already on its way in. Galaxy Racer, they've been lucky though, this zone has stayed with them, and for now, as long as that zone continues to stay, they will have future position, future chance to get even higher placement points, but they're very reliant on this zone staying with them. If it goes towards the north, if it goes towards Seal and Infinity, Galaxy Racer, there's no real hope for them without a massive smoke road of vehicles there to be able to establish some future position.
Oh, I mean, things are just looking so tough up and towards the north, as we of course can see being refused entry up and towards the zone as Seal9 steps on up. But now as we hop onto the side here of Nova, we can see Sky's already pretty low on health, quickly trying to recover a little bit of that, as there's only a few seconds left on the clock before that zone starts moving up once again. But now FaZe comes pushing in onto the side of Galaxy Race, and of course now Max steps up to greet them, welcoming them up in towards zone. But that guy just holding up right there on the edge of the zone, but Max nearly lighting himself up with that molly. This, of course, now we look to see what Rox is going to be doing, and of course whether or not we'll see those plays come in from Ultron, just holding the off angle here, providing that extra layer of additional support. But of course, will it be enough?
Revenant as well, they have to fend off against Seal solo, holding him back for now. But as you mentioned, down on the south as well, Tony K, that guy from FaZe, they are anticipating their way in onto Ultron.
Oh, here we go. Ultron now still just trying to make a stand, trying to make the play. Force his team now just setting themselves up closer to the edge of the zone. But oh, Ultron steps on up, picks up that guy. Oh no, down he goes. Tony K picking up the hurt, picking up the kill, of course, securing at that point. But now the teams are still going to be fighting it out as we got Rocks now just trying to make a stand on the edge of zone. MJ now the last remaining hopeful for the side here of Galaxy Racer, but of course MJ already having that position just a little bit further up ahead, securing that angle within the zone. Now Seal 9 and the side of Infinity are fighting it out up in towards the north.
MJ, we have the zone. MJ, be quiet. Allow Seal, allow Infinity to wipe each other out. Come in as that third party at the end. You have the zone gifted to you in phase 6. They all need to come down that hillside. Wait patiently with the blockades that have been gifted. Seal, they are falling down. Infinity also suffering a knock. And as long as each of them lose members, Galaxy Racer can steal this away. But Infinity, they are proving strong. Nevertheless, they have 2 members alive. Solo is down.
Oh, and of course, Senor looking to make the stand on the edge. The shots now finding their way on through there from Galaxy Racer. But Senor, now the last remaining hopeful for the team. I don't think he's going to be able to get that res in on towards Sold. But this is where we now see the players from Infinity applying the pressure, sending the utils over, and of course finding the head on to them. But now it is up to MJ to make that final stand here for Galaxy Racer, to show us what they've got, and of course potentially grab the chicken dinner as we now see Infinity come rushing on in, stopping Galaxy Racer from getting that chicken dinner, but doing so in style though, finishing off with 12 kills. A really strong finish for Infinity.
Infinity, they grab a second game in a row. Another game where it's double digits of kills. 12 equal on to their 15 kills the previous game. They're the new FaZe CLAN in town when it comes to day 2 of Group B. But Galaxy Racer also stepping up once again. Another good result from them. Yes, they, I think, had to rely on Seals having a little bit more oomph when it came to taking down his Infinity members. Unfortunately for them, none of them fell. Infinity with the overpeak were able to close it out. MJ, they did their best. And then for that third place as well, Seal overlooking, I think, what was quite a good wraparound back onto Revenant. And Revenant, they had what was the strongest position realistically out of any of these teams coming into those final few zones. But it gained the confidence, the lack of confidence to be able to enter in. They kept Encore back where there really was no need. And then with only 3 members, they weren't able to push out with that confidence as required onto those full squads.
Well, it has been quite a bit of a challenge, quite a bit of a fight for the teams over on towards Miramar. But now, as we get ready to head right back on towards Erangel, we're going to be expecting some pretty interesting plays to come from that. Of course, we'll be back with some Erangel action right after the break. So stay tuned, and we'll see you back in a short few minutes. Hello and welcome back to the preliminary round for Group B right here on the Thunder Cup. And of course, now the teams are going to be looking to step it up once again as we return to Erangel, ready to get into our second visit. My name is DK, and of course, with me is the lovely Highland Wolf. Wolf, we've been seeing some pretty spicy plays over the previous two games, right? What are we expecting to see in this last one?
Oh man, we've seen Infinity clap cheeks is what we've been seeing here, DK. 27 kills in 2 games, 2 chicken dinners. They're upping even the standard that FaZe CLAN set the bar going even higher. Galaxy Racer, they also came back through with a second position, joined up with Seal. And I think also to an extent there, Nova sneaking in that 4th position with 7 kill points. Let's not forget that Nova, also in the first game, they secured themselves 6 kill points, the 2nd place. Nova, they're definitely looking fairly consistent. And going into this 3rd game, hoping that we can see that consistency continue. judging the fact they did have a quite poor performance in yesterday's series of games, is that playing path has gone over towards more that southern side. It's going to be straight across, so a lot of still potential for teams to continue their comfort drops over towards the south of sort of Northcote military base and also towards Georgia Pulse, School, Rostock. Yes, Night Pollyanna with a bit of a drive still available.
It's definitely going to be interesting to see where the teams are going to be choosing to drop down with the flight path we are currently seeing. And of course, yeah, I'm expecting to see the chaos, the mayhem erupt as the teams have been showing up so aggressively right out of the gate. Expecting to see a continuation of that as we see so many teams dropping hard right on top of each other. And of course, now we wait to see where our first phase, our first zone will be taking us.
Our first zone, where our first fight will be taking us. If it's anything like that last week, we're in for at least a few teams to be knocked out in the first 5 minutes, because that zone will go hard against that plane path in one way or another, all the way back to the east, but the northeast this time around. And these teams, especially on the South Island, they've got quite a difficult rotation in this version of Erangel, because yes, you can go through the bridges. I think definitely already you can assume teams like the side of Mayhem will be instantly overlooking that eastern bridge, and particularly on that western bridge. You don't even need to understand about gatekeeping. You can already see the amount of circles of players, beautiful colors there from those enemy teams, in particular already Raptors overlooking that gate with 2-2 splits. And I think Raptors, a potential team here, DK, coming in, that I really would like to see a lot more coming from them. They've not really had a promising day number one. 2 last place finishes in the first 2 games today. They definitely have it back against the wall to get some points.
Yeah, it is going to be quite a challenge though, as we can see the teams now looking to move on through and towards their looting phase, looking to go into their compounds. But of course, it is already looking pretty heated over on towards Sosnovka, as we've got 2 teams dropping down right there in towards that military base, but also center zone. Things are heating up, but even Nova just joining up in towards the zone. As they move on up, they already have those shots flying in from the side there of Galaxy Race. And of course, this is the early game aggression we were talking about. The teams not even hesitating at the opportunity at a few additional points.
Very aggressive moves from Nova, and they do go along the coastal line. I think that is more risky, but when you look back to yesterday's games, it does make a lot of sense. But the likes of Germany Black have also, alongside other teams like DEWA, moved over into Pachinki in the past. So going into directly Pachinki early on could be a little bit risky for them. So even uphill, as we say, could be risky for them in addition. So Nova, they do go along the coastal line. Unfortunately, it doesn't work out for them. As we can see, there's no Join Me Black, there's no DEWA over in Pachinki. It would be a very safe rotation for them in this version of the game. But for Nova, nevertheless, they do get both those players past Galaxy Racer, but we do also have to be aware that Galaxy Racer could come in for a collapse, and the rest of those 2 members do need to be able to come in on the backside. They look like they have found, though, 2 of those Galaxy Racer members. Ultron, also with Matt Cash, now going to be isolated on their own barn island, and the rest of those Galaxy members, MJ Rocks. This is the issue that Nova we were looking at potentially, instead now happening over to Galaxy Racer.
Oh, I mean, it is going to be a pretty tough one. Of course, now we have the shots flying in there from the side of Galaxy, from Nova rather, on towards Galaxy Racer. But a good turn of events there, as we did see just a few moments ago. You know, Galaxy Racer started off shooting over on towards Nova. Now Nova comes right back on in and says, you know what, we're going to be returning the favor to you, as you've already started off with a bit of aggression, finding a bit of damage. But now, as we see the players here from Galaxy Racer just pushing even further up in towards the zone, looking to secure themselves in these compounds so they can go about their looting process, get themselves set up for those later phases.
But here come the rest of Nova. They're not quite done yet, and they will continue over onto farm. They will continue their assault.
Oh, and yes, here we go. They rushing up into the party. Ultron looking to step up, but of course picks up a double knock. What? Nova now being reduced down to memory. And of course, this is going to be a pretty tough play for the side of Nova, as Galaxy Racer has just stepped up and dominated this compound. Now, Memory taking a few shots as Galaxy Racer are looking to apply the pressure, looking to dial up the aggression and get the squad wipe. But no, Memory says not just yet. Galaxy Racer continuing on with their efforts as they now come up with a full aggression in from the team, full sending into the compound. Memory now being forced up onto the roof to try and evade the damage for the time being.
Absolutely obliterated. Nova, they came in over the hill. There was no protection on the road, DK. 3 of them instantly dropped. Memory on the rooftop. They are able to find some return for now, but it's still a 2v1.
Oh, Memory jumping off the roof now, looking to step right up into the oven. As we, of course, got Galaxy Racers strafing into that. But here we go. Ultron gets picked on up. Now it is up to the rest of the team. And, of course, Galaxy Racer quickly closing that one out. Of course, it was quite a costly fight for them. Oh, Max almost got sent back. That was such a close one. Max sitting on like half a health. That was absolutely insane. Brutal play. But of course now, as we look back up into a more centralized position within the zone, things are starting to heat up as we got the players there from DRS as well as the players there from AKUMA just holding that position up in towards Yasnaya. But now, over towards that western bridge, this is where we now see the players from the Raptors looking to push on, apply the pressure rather onto the side here of A1 Esports.
Very important fight for the Raptors to be able to win this one, but unfortunately already it is on the side of Ranky already getting poked down. And for their own, now needing to be revived back up, Alpha One are taking advantage of that. They're starting to dive in. They will be able to find those knocks.
Oh, and of course now the Raptors coming in with that 2-2 split. Slayer just hanging back on the far side there. And of course now Sinister just right there alongside Slayer. So good split coming in here from them. But of course now we see a quick retaliation on that coming in from the side here of A1. As A1 Sinister is now moving on towards Sinister Nub to try and apply the pressure, looking to get the damage, the hurt right into the side there of the Raptors.
Unfortunately, though, this Wrangle 2.0 protection won't be good enough. That blue zone, nevertheless, is also going to enter in. A1 also entering into the fight 2v1. The smokes blocking their path for now. But Sinister, Dante on the front line. They are willing to try gatekeep this one away. Sinister, Nub, and Slayer. Which will be the best Sinister? Which will be the best Slayer? But will it be Dante also to take pick? Yes, they do.
Ah, there we go. Sinister sending the shots up into Slayer. But now Sinister and Sinister still to fight it out. Looking to see, as you said, which Sinister is going to be the better Sinister. Who will be able to find the better angles. And of course now, well, the answer is Dante. Dante is the better Sinister as he sends the hit straight on through, ending the match there for the players of the Raptors. But of course now, as we look back to the zone, things are still looking pretty hairy up in towards Yasnaya.
Yes, now in particular, we have had DRS and the side of AKUMA. They've been close together since they started. AKUMA, though, quicker into the compound means that they are able to gatekeep DRS. The reason why DRS can't go in is, of course, because of how difficult it is to engage on that last part of Yasnaya feels. It is more slightly open entering into the compound, and it does allow that short break where AKUMA can continue to target down and find those easy knocks onto DRS. They have been secluded into what is a tricky position overall. They can retreat back to the barrel holes, but unfortunately for them, this zone has gone over towards Yasnaya. So as the likes of ZEUS, as the likes of Beta Sentinel, they move their way in, it makes it even more trickier for DRS, and also the concern even for DRS getting one knocked, but also the fact that they've been there here so long with not much loot they've been able to grab.
Oh, I mean, Flux now just stepping up there with the VSS, sending the hurt, the pain onto the side there of BRS. AJ now caught between a rock and a tough place. Not a hard place, but just a tough place. And it is going to be an exceptional challenge for them to get out of that one. But of course, we can see Infinity now also starting to light up the kill feed. As of course, the teams are looking to push even further up in towards the zone. And I'm quite interested to see exactly what the players are going to be attempting on this bridge as Infinity swoop on in. Of course, making it a really hard day for the side here of Illuminate.
Illuminate, unfortunately, a disappointing showing once again. They do find Bravus through us out to the bridge. They find him over onto the south side compound of the beach. Now going into farm. Aside of Bravus, they now need to play a solo player. And when you think about a solo player mentality, setting up on the edge of the farm in one of those compounds for now actually does make the most sense. You could go in further onto the rest of those hills, but also if you continue to go towards the hills around shelter, it is risky that also teams like Galaxy Racer also look for the same spot and you still get caught out as a solo player. Nevertheless, though, it is also ZEUS moving into SKYLIGHTZ Gaming.
Oh, and of course now, this is where we see ZEUS just step on in, claiming quite a few of the players here from the SKYLIGHTZ side. But now, this is Heaven. Heaven and Joker, the two remaining players here for SKYLIGHTZ Gaming, looking to make their stand as they too now start pushing up, trying to disengage, and of course positioning themselves up in towards the bowl. But it is going to be a pretty tough play for them, as they are now of course being hunted down. As we see the players here from ZEUS moving up alongside them, making it so difficult to actually find a position to be fighting from.
SKYLIGHTZ Gaming, unfortunately, they had to go for the retreat. Heaven already in doing so. But unfortunately for them, more bad news here come Alpha 1 as well. Bad news for ZEUS though as well, because ZEUS, they weren't set up. They were pinning down SKYLIGHTZ Gaming. They've now isolated IC, and A1, they can easily start to take this fight, but it's A1 who loses the first member.
Oh, here we go. ZEUS comes crashing up in towards Joker. Oh, come on. Wally gets picked up as well. And now it is up to Abely to make the final stand. Of course, his team just getting absolutely obliterated up ahead as A1. Now applying the pressure, of course, swooping on in, looking to clean house, clean it up. But of course, now this is where SKYLIGHTZ are facing quite a challenge, as we now can see ZEUS come in and of course sends them backing right back into the lobby. A1 now taking quite a bit of damage, looking to make that a quick rotation, a quick disengage, but potentially even just a reposition, a reshuffle to get the angles onto the side there of ZEUS.
As well as ZEUS, they are looking strong. Equally, when you think about the rest of this map, though, DK, the side of TAMILAS, they're also looking insanely strong. FaZe, they went for a pretty smart wide rotation round the south of Stalber, coming in at the edge of Yasna Polyana, but they got caught out, and now it's only Corpix as a solo player has to play for the rest of FaZe CLAN, and what has been, as we say, quite a sad day for FaZe CLAN compared to the dominance that was coming from them in the first 3 games yesterday.
And that, of course, is the beauty of the Battle Royales. Things are ever changing, and it is so difficult to get that consistency in. So that is how we know when we see a team that can consistently perform, consistently bring the aggression, bring the action, that speaks volumes.
Silvo, phase 3, now centers itself up over towards the edge of Lepovko, and also towards now the side of Team TAMILAS. And overall here, it does start to get a little bit concerning for the positions of some of these teams in the outskirts. Galaxy Racer, their way into the zone, a little bit more trickier said than done. They could go in between their ZEUS and also Beta, but not understanding if there are teams in that ridge line. They do make quite a wide rotation, expect to join up there with also Join Me Black, also going to make a wide rotation in for the north side. But with so many of these teams doing it, you can see even BANGKRIRK, Seal, they're right up against each other.
Oh, and of course, Senor gets knocked right on down. Now it is up to Inky, Monkey, and Sold to make the stand here for the team. And of course, now the shots already finding their way on through as Monkey moves up for the res. Of course, now North just up ahead, but the rest of the team here moving in there from BANGKRIRK Esports. They're looking to apply a little bit of pressure while they too are looking to make their rotation through the zone. But of course, this is where things are going to get super interesting, super spicy, as Inky is now the front line defensive player. It's putting the hits over in towards BANGKRIRK, looking to put in a bit of offensive play even as well.
Well, PX from the side of FaZe CLAN also drops there. Will be TAMILAS to be able to grab up that 4th kill of game. Carry as well overlooking down south. The side of MAYHEM, the side of REVENANT, is TAMILAS will even find more. Starting their work as well on the south of this zone on towards MAYHEM. One knock to begin it. And MAYHEM in a dire position. Also trapped there behind REVENANT. There's nowhere really for them to go. Trapped inside the compounds which they stand.
Oh, and I mean, looking at the center zone as well, things are looking absolutely insane here. We got the players now from MAYHEM caught in quite a bit of mayhem as they are looking to stay in this round in the zone as long as they possibly can. But of course, they are caught in between the side here of ZEUS and the players coming in there from REVENANT. So quite a bit of a challenge already at hand as the players are looking to make that stand, looking to make those plays. But of course, now everyone just adding on to the level of complexity here.
The complexity also around Mansion. Not going to go inside a mansion because you can see the problem that MAYHEM are having is they go too quickly into the compound, and a similar issue will also happen to REVENANT if they aren't able to clean up this fight. You need to be very careful when you do enter this section because it is very easy for teams to find cover, to be able to find angles against you, and there is only a few specific exits of course coming out, so it's quite fairly simple for teams to be able to find exactly where you are inside a compound and then take out the appropriate exits which you are looking to take.
Oh, I mean, so many range hits now coming in as we see M4 with the Scar L looking to send a few over onto the side there of ZEUS. Unfortunately, ZEUS just a little bit too far away for a successful spray to come on in. But now the zone shifts up once again over towards that western side. And as we look over, over towards the eastern side, if we look to the west, there we go, it makes more sense. Now we can see, of course, AKUMA, Galaxy Racer just huddled onto the edge of the zone, already facing quite a bit of a challenge because that blue zone will be closing up within the next minute or so.
I feel for DRS, they don't really want to take this fight. Move towards AJ if you can. Try to hold on as best you can. Hope that Galaxy Racer go in against AKUMA as well. Understanding Phase 4 is beginning to engulf you. You, of course, do lose med kits, but they are coming in behind nevertheless. Trying to find 1-2. They also almost find AJ, but Nima gets knocked down.
Oh, MJ gets caught out in the jump mid-air. Beautiful show of aggression coming in there from the side, of course, of the DRS. But now they're looking to clean it up, looking to get the wipe onto the side here of Galaxy Racer. Rocks now being forced into a bit of a back foot play, as now his teammates have been facing quite a bit of damage, taking quite a considerable amount of himself. But now, DRS looking to swoop in and claim the squad wipe, and of course looking to acquire those additional points. But this is also now where we see DRS just coming on through.
AJ.
But, oh, it is going to be so tough.
Look at AJ's positioning, though. They're approaching behind AKUMA. They're waiting for their perfect opportunity to strike.
Oh, Mafia Ninja. No, sends out the smoke to try and get up into the vehicle. But of course, Galaxy Racer finding their heads right into the side there and making it so tough for DRS to get a successful play. But now, of course, we see AJ rather looking to push back up in towards the zone, looking for that rotation, abandoning his teammate. Of course, he has no other option, he has no other choice, but now looking to put up the hurt, the pain onto the side here of AKUMA as they too start rotating up in towards the zone.
When you can't find the knocks of the vehicle rotation in, it makes it so much more difficult for AJ, as Kaido will also now gatekeep them away at 1-for-1 play, as it will be on the edge of FaZe, and also now moving in that blue zone, creeping in behind them. But a beautiful shot, a beautiful double knock there through from MAYHEM lands the front line of AKUMA.
Oh, I mean, AKUMA now just facing such a challenge as we see Galaxy Racer also now just come flying up in towards the zone. Rocks so low on health, making it so easy, of course, for those hits to find their way on through, as we see the players there from REVENANT just capitalizing on the chaos. But now, quite a bit of chaos happening on the edge of that western side. But looking over towards the east, this is where things are looking exceptionally challenging as well, as so many teams are also still trying to squeeze on up in towards the zone. And now this is where Join Me Black runs right back into the lobby at the hand there, of course, of the players from Illuminate. So really tough plays. And of course, now we see the players here from Seal9 still positioned up in the north, still having to make that rotation, that push back up in towards zone.
Beautiful solo play there coming from Illuminate. Bravuz has been a solo player, has not moved from inside to Shaq, and has been able to be justly rewarded with that triple knock. Brilliant stuff coming through from Illuminate. Much needed after 2 pro games. Those kill points going to be right on the money. Is also when you look towards those south side, look towards the eastern end of zone here. Infinity, do not forget them here. 2-time chicken dinner winners already today. Still opening in with a clear shot into zone.
Oh, and of course now as we hop onto the side here of Revenant, they called over on this western front with the team there. Of course, right up ahead of them being the side of A1. Was quite a lot of company positioned a little bit further up north from this play. But now we look to see just what the teams are going to be doing and how they're going to try and gain their position back up in towards the zone, as we see A1 already now turning up the heat, turning up the pressure, sending up the shots straight onto the side there, of course, Team Mayhem. But now this is where we look to see what exactly will be coming in from Revenant Esports, as they are looking to play this ridge and potentially pick up a few free kills along the way.
And this is why we said earlier, DK, is so predictable when you come out of mansion, exactly which exit you're coming from. A1 takedown Revenant, those on the edge of the zone, gatekeep away Mayhem, execute them down while they also go down to TAMILAS, also alive, still struggling on the edge, but it is albeit BANGKRIRK in the center of the zone. BANGKRIRK with the compound, and it is up to BANGKRIRK if he can defend away their position.
This is a beautiful setup coming in from BANGKRIRK, but of course now quite a bit of chaos still just going down on it towards the south of the zone, as we now see the players here from A1 looking to secure their passage up in towards the zone. I mean, of course, the players here from Revenant are going to be trying to do exactly the same. They are going to be looking to push through A1, because there's not really many other options when it comes to those rotations.
It comes BANGKRIRK for now, are holding strong. Infinity are edging though, who said on the front line. Players albeit in this midst of the smoke. A1 versus Revenant.
Oh, absolute carnage down in the south. But now, as we hop on to the side here of Team TAMILAS, of course now, Evil looking to make a stand, looking to potentially pick up a few hits along the way. Right up ahead, right over on towards that southern side, we do see the team here of Mayhem looking to try and get back up in towards zone. Of course, now fighting it out with the blue. Infinity now also just securing themselves on the edge here, trying to potentially gatekeep a few teams come in with those third-party heads as the zone just catches up with them. But of course, now taking a little bit of a shift up in towards the northwestern side. But this is where the chaos just starts rolling in by the bucket loads. Wow, the players here, of course, from BANGKRIRK sending the hit, sending the pain over towards TAMILAS.
BANGKRIRK for even going for the loot on the edge of zone. They're that damn confident for the rest of Infinity, for the rest of Illuminate. Bravuz finding that triple, finding their way into top 3. Infinity, though, they're looking, they're searching for some way in, but they've used the smokes, they've used the utilities for the most part already. That airdrop does provide some potential sanity for them. There's a blockade away from BANGKRIRK, but they're already setting up back over to the side they need to, and this just looks free.
Oh, and here we go. Infinity now making the dash up in towards zone, but BANGKRIRK looking to get some bang for their buck, as they are hoping to pick up a few shots along the way. Of course, looking to find that on the side here of Infinity, but BANGKRIRK They come in with strong numbers, securing a good position in the compound. Of course, now we've got 8 remaining players. You can see the side here of BANGKRIRK now still looking pretty frosty, pretty fresh, as they apply the pressure now onto the side of Infinity. And this is where Infinity meets their end, as BANGKRIRK just sends up the pain, sends up the hurt, and of course now it is the final play left for Illuminate, but they can't get it as they get sent back, and REUS gets refused entry into that pole position. Absolutely beautiful play coming in from BANGKRIRK Esports.
It wasn't just BANGKRIRK though, DK. It was Bravuz with the 4th kill of his team right at the end, over onto that final player of Infinity. They took down Tunny, and as a result, there was no backline support. And as soon as that backline support goes down, the frontline engagement comes in. Infinity falter, and it was Bravuz from the side of Illuminate who definitely secured that game for BANGKRIRK. They also, as we say, nevertheless, BANGKRIRK take home a plethora, 9 kills in total. The side of Illuminate do take up second, as we say, Infinity up in third. Also, though, a beautiful standout performance, might I add, from Who Said 8 kills that game just himself.
Yeah, that is absolutely insane, of course. That brings them up onto a 13 kill game. Absolutely phenomenal stuff, of course. What a way to finish the round. Finish the match, of course, with such an insane amount of kills. But of course, it is not the end, though. We still have 1 more to go. We are going to be heading over in towards Miramar, the sandy dunes of Miramar, to see what the teams will bring in our final showing here today. And of course, just exactly who will be the team to step up and claim that chicken dinner. It has been an absolute cutthroat battle so far today, but of course, we'll bring you that action back in a short few minutes. Stay tuned. See you after the break. Hello and welcome back as we jump on into our final match here of the day, of course, right on those sandy dunes right here back in the desert land, which is, of course, Miramar. We're expecting to see quite a few interesting plays, as we've, of course, seen quite a bit of aggression already coming in throughout the extent of today's matches. So, Wolf, what are we expecting to see in this final showing on Miramar?
When we're coming into Miramar, we've seen what has been an interesting series of events, of course, once again from Infinity, still grabbing in the second position overall, but actually a rise, I would argue, from also the likes of BANGKRIRK, who overall have been still performing at a fairly solid pace. What do you think about their 5th position overall on 8 kill points on the first game of Miramar, a 5th position there, and they actually got gifted that chicken dinner with 9 kill points over on that 3rd game. Now, when we look at over Erangel, they have been very consistent and very good as a team to perform getting to those later stages of the map. But now on Miramar, BANGKRIRK, one of those teams that are a little bit of a one-shot wonder when it comes to the maps, want to see what they can do when you change it up and you put them out on the desert, because BANGKRIRK, they didn't have that good a showing, even though in the second game, they actually had one of the best positions going into that mid-game.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be interesting to see what the teams will bring as we make our way through with the flight path, of course, situated ever so slightly on towards that southwestern side. So, of course, not a big disruption to the drop pass here for the teams. It does make it a slight bit challenging, but of course, we're going to be looking to see what the zone itself is going to be bringing. But as we look up in towards Monte Nuevo, already quite a bit of action yet to unfold there as the teams are dropping hot.
Is when you look already, we have to expect how hot these teams going to be dropping. Los Leones, there's a plethora of them jumping into the phase 1 zone already, going hard towards the east, and a lot of these teams going to be congested on that entrance through into Picardo Hills into the play zone as well. It's going to be a very, very quick and fast-paced series of events early on, and expect a lot of these players initially to start dropping. One of those players in particular, Betas to Lake, caught out against ZEUS, potentially could be that first one to fall.
Yeah, it is going to be a pretty interesting engagement here to see, of course, just exactly how Infinity will choose to take the fight here on the side of ZEUS. And of course, now, it seems like ZEUS is starting to slowly just engulf them as we have players on either side. But of course, now we see in the kill feed as well, Galaxy Racer and Beta going at it as well.
And even when you have decided now, Galaxy Racer are jumping in, but they've been returned 1 for 1. And yes, they take Selig down. They take down also Amsalot with the help there of Raptors. And Raptors, another one of these teams coming in for the backside. 3 disappointing games, but FPP, maybe it's a change of pace for them.
Oh, of course, quite a bit of potential here for them. Let's see now whether or not the Raptors will be able to get the aggression on it to the side there of Beta, as you've mentioned, already finding that first knock on through. But now they could be looking to close it up and send in the remaining few players also right back up in towards that lobby. But this is where things are going to get pretty tough, as the kill feed now just lighting up as the players there from Illuminate come under fire while we wait, of course, here now for the Raptors to start descending down onto the side there of Beta. But now, I mean, this is a pretty tough position that they find themselves in, and of course the Raptors are going to be looking to capitalize on this.
BANGKRIRK as well jumping in. You even have Ande of the backside. Yes, they're not going to be able to form much of a third party, but also in Los Leones, it's complete carnage between the side of AKUMA, MAYHEM, and also Alpha 1. And even looking down at that south side on the zone itself, DK, interesting position out of DRS and Join Me Black, which also could unfold into a series of solo kills.
Well, it's going to be tough, especially now looking, you know, as you mentioned, up here in towards Los Leones. Things are looking pretty spicy, pretty hairy. Of course, as we've got 3 teams positioned in here. And the difficult part about this is, once they've wrapped up the engagement, depending on where that zone goes, I hope they've got a clear exit strategy. Because we've seen teams, you know, at times really having a hard time getting out of Los Leones. But now, with the side here of MAYHEM, looking to create a clean sweep as they move through the compounds. You could see quite a few potential engagements come from this.
Indeed, MAYHEM going to have a hard time trying to navigate between two teams as well. Unfortunately for the side of SKYLIGHTZ Gaming, also caught in between a hard rock and a hard place there. By the side of SKYLIGHTZ Gaming, up against now GXR match. Cass was also knocked down. Rox also trading away Cherry. SKYLIGHTZ Gaming looking strong for now. Rox as well going in. Will be able to find that second knock in DK. So that does mean that GXR over on that mid portion of the map do find success. In Ultron now needs to come in as that third party.
Oh, and I mean, of course, now as we can see here, Heaven looking to pick up the shots onto the side there of the players from Galaxy Racer. Of course, now as Bolyahung has already been taken out, and of course, Chari also getting knocked out and getting sent right on away. But now it is up to Heaven and Joker to make the stand for the side here of SKYLIGHTZ Gaming. It is quite a bit of a ranged stack here, but fortunately, Heaven does have that 8 scope on, so it does make things a slight tad bit easier with the range. But of course, now it comes down to finding those angles and those positions and sending the shots straight on through.
When it comes to fast-paced angles, so you have to dive straight through onto Infinity versus ZEUS as well. It's completely all over the map, fighting after fights after fights. ZEUS, they find a better engager this time on. They do take down Tunny, but it looks like a one-for-one trade almost onto Icy. Barely able to survive. The smoke protecting him for now, but Infinity put down.
I mean, of course, right here still on the side of SKYLIGHTZ Gaming, looking to find the shots up in towards Galaxy Racer. We did see Joker land 1 or 2 hits, but of course, fortunately for Galaxy Racer, they are just able to hug the hard cover and just stay a little further out of reach for the side here, of course, of the SKYLIGHTZ. But now, as we look up in towards the zone, things are really looking pretty tough, especially over on towards the side here of Beta, as they've now been reduced down to only 1 player.
Beta, yes, they struggled against Raptors. Raptors, they seem to be circumventing all of those teams initially dropping onto Chumacera. Beta, they take the short straw in his final game. Now only going to be NM to defend against all of the rest of the Raptors team. Also on the north side there, you do have to keep in mind Seal continuing there to also take a gatekeep against Team TAMILAS. So TAMILAS will also have to maybe go for what is a quite wide flanking rotation over to the north side. Is Order, meanwhile, MAYHEM also suffer against Alpha 1.
We also did see quite a few hits coming onto the side there of ZEUS lining up that kill feed. But now, as we see MM looking to make the final stand for the side here of Raptors, against the Raptors rather. This is going to be quite a bit of a challenge, as we see the Raptors now looking to push on up, coming in with a little bit of a pressure play here onto the side of MM. And of course now this is going to be so risky, so tough. I'm pretty sure we could potentially see the side of Beta Sentinel getting sent right back into the lobby.
I don't think Beta goes down right now. I don't think the Raptors actually did spot the side of Beta jumping over that window. So I don't think that will happen to be the case. I'm more concerned here still around Los Leones, DK, because all the meanwhile that does play out over to the side of the mid portion of the map is still the side of MAYHEM stuck in between AKUMA. They take down actually the side of Alpha 1 in a complete reverse fight. Now AKUMA though, they won that third party. Finally also Galaxy Racer even finding those shots on the SKYLIGHTZ Gaming, so fighting elsewhere in the map meanwhile.
Oh, I mean, of course, now AKUMA looking to gain entry up onto the floors where we have the players there situated from Team MAYHEM. And it is a slow and steady push as they make their way through. But we hear absolute silence come in from the side here of MAYHEM as they are just waiting. They don't want to disclose their position just yet. They are waiting in ambush, waiting to see if AKUMA will be walking up into a potential trap.
But Immortal, they do make some stands there as they move around, try to pick up some more loot. So AKUMA, they're using their ears as a sacrifice for their eyes here. Their ears will also be so important from the bottom side. Galaxy Racer also taking down another of SKYLIGHTZ Gaming. Joker will also fall, but here is a 4-man push. AKUMA, now is their time.
Oh, and of course, here they come. Oh, yes. Oh, they've been spotted. They've been spotted. The first few shots come straight up in towards Fierce, but now Immortal looks to make the final stand, the final play, finding quite a bit of damage, but the drum shots come flying on in. And of course, Immortal just finding them one after the other. But of course, now it is far from over. Quite a bit of chaos has been caused by Immortal, and he gets caught trying to jump out the window. That is the end of the players there for Team Mayhem, but what a play it was coming in from AKUMA.
Almost a 1v4 coming through for the side of Mayhem. It looked like it could be the case, but barely, as we say, AKUMA, they hold on. They keep 3 players alive, more importantly, and they stop what could have been an absolute disaster for AKUMA in this final game. SKYLIGHTZ as well. They are now done, of course, with SKYLIGHTZ. They move on to greener pastures in this desert, trying to find even more kills to spread the bodies, use their bones as fertilizer. GXR, they're moving now on to Revenant. They have Seal behind them. But what can GXR do? Stuck in between still 2 teams and still far away from zone, because you have now TAMILAS, or TAMILAS should I say, excuse me, moving in for the north side. You have, even more importantly, the fighting continuing in the center of zone. And between 2 of our top teams coming into the lobby overall, we fought in Group B. Nova, FaZe CLAN positioning up against each other, but Nova, they are starting to feel surrounded as Tony, that guy, they move in for the north side.
Of course, now we can see FaZe looking to sneak up right there alongside them. As you've mentioned already, Tony and that guy just closing the gap, moving in, looking to find those angles. But here we go now. MR5 comes rushing over the ridge, picks up the knock on towards Rin, but of course gets knocked out right in the process. That guy also getting knocked right on out. And now it is up towards Corpex now to make this last stand alongside his teammate here, Tony K, who's now also just a little bit of a distance away, but comes rushing straight through the side of Nova to get on over to that guy and potentially get that race going. But the shots are flying on in. Tony K not managing to get into position, and now it is all riding on Corpex to make the final stand here.
PX, they were solo before in the previous game. They had to match that even better. They had to form a better result against Nova. FaZe have been struggling all day so far. They struggled even more so yesterday in the FPP game. Now is the chance to shine, but Nova, they do look to be the better of them. MR5 as well back up. Tony definitely goes down.
Oh, here we go. They're pushing in. Nova coming in with the aggression. Of course, now Corpex getting knocked right on down. But now MR5 coming in, swooping in to potentially save the day for FaZe, as Nova is now once again down to memory. Pretty tough engagement for both teams here. We've seen casualties on either side, but of course now MR5 looking to quickly get back up onto Senike to get that res going and bring their numbers back up, as already Corpex is up and running.
AKUMA even joining in as a third party. They're not quite done yet. Memory, yes, it should have come in closer, but AKUMA, finally, their Corpex is able to fend off the third party coming over the hill. The Flux, also Cardox moving in as well. Jari, yes, they go for the first, but Corpex way too aggressive. Almost goes down.
MR5 coming through with the spray there onto the side of Nova. Absolutely fantastic stuff. But of course, now, as you've mentioned, the players here from AKUMA looking to push in, looking to apply the pressure onto the side of FaZe. And FaZe now holding their own, playing the ridge lines, playing the hard cover. Of course, now sending up the nades. They're trying to find a little bit of damage, a little bit of hood. Of course, picking up quite a bit of damage onto the side of AKUMA. But now, with Kaido atop the hill, could still be quite a bit of a challenging play for FaZe.
This is what makes it so difficult, right? You have MR5 trying to come in for the flank side, but Kaido is able to spot them before they can even find a good angle back onto AKUMA. Yes, they come over that ridge line, immediately should go down. MR5 do have to be careful. Tony K as well, trying to find some off angle, but from such a low vantage point, not going to find really much there. MR5 also does execute one. That wide angle flank does pay off for them. Now AKUMA, they have one split, but it is unfortunately Flux down at the dip. They don't really have vision of FaZe.
I mean, of course, now Kaido just holding up on the high ground. A good anchor point, a good point for them to fall back onto. As we can see, of course, now Kaido looking to take aim onto FaZe as they are trying to push up the hill, just trying to apply that pressure. But Tony K already coming in with a bit of a flank, a bit of a wraparound play here onto the side of AKUMA. But of course, now a good disengage.
Tony K coming in, but Kaido still retreating back. Still Akuma retreating back here, DK. They don't wish to take the fight. They go past out of Los Leones. They're still continuing back into the city. It will be Akuma losing one. They do lose Flux, but it is Kaido now burning up. Has to stop inside the crates. We'll have the protection. The FaZe, they definitely win out overall in the fight. They blow up the vehicle for good measure, and there's no way out but on foot. In Kaido, they had to hope this FaZe now number 3 will stay with them. On the rest of the show behind them, though, FaZe, they take one more fight, and in comes another. Revenant behind them. The side still also there of Raptors, including now moving into the fight.
Oh, and of course, Nake is sealing the fate there for the players from Akuma, sending them off ready to wait for tomorrow's games. But now, of course, we still have 10 teams remaining. As we can see, of course, now everyone trying to squeeze on up in towards the zone. And this northwestern section of the zone is going to be particularly difficult. See that we've got 3 teams up ahead, but it is so spread out. Of course, FaZe still being one of those 3 teams. So now we see the players here, of course, from Revenant Esports looking to gain their own entry into that zone.
As well, don't forget though, Galaxy Racer Infinity, we talked about Infinity in the past, their ability to slide their way in and steal chicken dinners with plethora of kill points in those final few zones. If they can only defend against Galaxy Racer, gatekeeping them for now. Doesn't quite look like it. Aldrin does find a knockfish, cancelling the kill feed.
Oh, and of course now the players here from the Raptors also looking to gain that point, that positional play. And as you mentioned, and as we saw in the kill feed, things are definitely hitting up for Infinity out in the blue zone. Galaxy Racers stopping over to find a quick few shots in their direction, but of course now making the crazy dash to get all the way back up in towards zone. They've got only a few seconds left to catch up with it, then it should be shifting once more.
FaZe, though, they're on a roll. Another double for KITSUNE, and they're even looking for more. KITSUNE with a triple. Slayer the only one alive, but a blue zone entering in, and KITSUNE looking for full-on flush.
Oh, come on, come on. Who will be able to get it as the shots find their way on through? And of course, right there, and then KITSUNE closes it out, putting FaZe on 11 kills. Absolutely insane stuff that we are witnessing here now. But of course, we have a few more still to go. 9 teams remain. And the teams, of course, now over towards that western side, they have quite a bit of distance to go. See that the zone is centered up almost in a, very centralized position. It is going to be a pretty tough entry point nonetheless.
So they still have open space. They're not caring about the zone, though. They're going for the 5th now team in a row. And Revenant are the next on the line. Already losing Paradox. And it just looks like FaZe on an absolute killing spree, DK. There's nothing that shuts them down. There goes kill number 12. And Revenant are down to a trio.
Oh, of course, now FaZe just coming out of nowhere, stepping on up, and of course returning to fame. The performance that we saw in yesterday's matches, bringing in the aggression, the shots, the insanity that we were used to seeing from them. And of course, boy, are they delivering on that front. But of course, as you mentioned, they are not done just yet, as they are looking to find even more chaos, even more bloody fights as they look to push onto the side here of the players now from Revenant. Oh, Tony K.
Tony K doesn't even give a damn that he's a solo player. MR5 for trust on their backside. FaZe 4, they're going to clean up 2 more. Inside the blue zone, Tony K will now move his way back through into the play area. Takes the vehicles of Revenant. Revenant, they sent one inside of Ghost and Ball, or Rust and Ball, should I say, all the way through onto the off angle just to survive, understanding what had been going on in that kill feed beforehand. And including there also an interesting maneuver from DRS and Join Me Black through the course of this fighting down on the south side. They actually, all of them here, are able for the most part to escape. DRS even keeping their solo player alive, who was completely boxed in by Join Me Black players. So the fact that actually both of them do engage with 0 kills going away, very, very surprising indeed, which what could have been, as we mentioned, a lot of solo kills going back and forth. But it is Join Me Black, they're up against BANGKRIRK, 2 kills already. BANGKRIRK, though, they are also being oppressed by TAMILAS.
Of course, now we're not expecting anything to get any easier, as the teams all now looking to find that position back up in towards the zone. But the shots, as you've mentioned, are just flying in now from the side here of Join Me Black. Rather, they are getting the stick end of that. The shots flying in such close succession here. And of course, now the players here from BANGKRIRK making it so difficult for them even to hold the position here.
In BANGKRIRK, they just look like they're completely done and out. Yet they do find, nevertheless, a few picks here, but it is a solo play for Ande. They have to pull out a miracle performance in, and there's players from multiple teams overlooking them from multiple angles. Yes, it will also be inside, though. BANGKRIRK finally going down as a solo. The side of Galaxy Racer of DRS also entering up. And Galaxy Racer, they're doing exactly what they did in the second game of Miramar here, DK. They're centralizing themselves in the zone, and they're playing for those placement points. Keep in mind, Galaxy Racer, they were the ones who got second place in that second game, and they're looking like they could potentially get second or even first, already with 7 kills this time around as well.
Absolutely insane stuff. But of course, now we're looking to see what the zone, what the FaZe will bring as the teams make their way on through. Yet again, looking to push on up as that blue zone is now about to start closing up. But of course, this is where we see BANGKRIRK just rotating around and looking to find a position up in from the north. From the south, rather. But now this is where we could see the shots finding their way straight up in towards BANGKRIRK. Yes, oh no, Join Me finding the hits, and that is an abrupt end coming in for the side there of BANGKRIRK. But of course, now DRS looking to make a stand against Galaxy Racer, who are applying the pressure in the central play in the zone. MJ comes in with the hits, though. AJ now trying to come in with a bit of support, finding quite a few hits in the process. Of course, sending MJ right on back. AJ and MJ fighting it out down to the bone. But Ultron now comes rushing in, picking up AJ. It is up to the Mafia Ninja to make the final play for DRS.
You gotta assume, though, Ultron with the zone does win out this fight with time. Mafia Ninja, though, is making that revive move in. Ultron needs to go in. A 2v1 situation, not ideal. Yes, you have the zone, but with 40 seconds before it even starts moving in, that's plenty of time for DRS to come up, flank around you, completely knock you out. Don't forget, though, as well, still in this game, the side of FaZe, but FaZe, they also look like they've been off way too much more than they could chew. Yes, they find a 15th kill, one onto Seal, but they're losing everyone forward. Tony K going down as he went for the revive onto the core PX. MR5 viewing one up.
Oh, MR5 looking to get the spray into the side there of Inky, but of course Inky just utilizing the ridge lines, is hogging it for dear life. Of course, now MR5 looking to send the nades, the utils across to pick up an assist with the damage, but of course not being able to find it all the way across just yet, as we can see the pain now being dialed up once again. The players here from Seal 9 now starting to push up, but also now starting to worry about that blue zone as they come in with a potential play. Yes, of course, ending the fate there for the players from FaZe. Now 5 teams remain as we look to see exactly where the teams are going to try and push on up into. But of course now Ultron, finds their hits, ends it off right there as we see the players now from DRS meeting their end. What a clutch play that was from Ultron.
Ultron keeping themselves alive, but we have to pull off one more miracle before we're done with the match tonight, as it comes now down to Join Me Black for coming in for the first chicken dinner of the Group B stage. They've been climbing their way up, and it penultimate moment, game 8, coming into the final day. Join Me Black, they're looking for the victory.
Well, it's going to be a pretty tough play. A pretty, well, sweet zone. Oh, victory about to come in as Ultron now comes rushing up, trying to get the spray in with the Tommy gun, picking up quite a bit of damage, but no, join me, sends a Galaxy Racer right on back, taking quite a bit of damage in the process. But now the final two teams are left to fight it out. Join me on a full squad. And of course, Team Tamilas sitting there on a solo player.
Team Tamilas, I think their days are numbered here. Yes, they make it to second place, but I think that's all they can hope for. Maybe one good kill if they can find a quick, easy knock. But here comes Johnny Black entering in for the final moments of the final game.
Oh, no surprise to see the way it ended. It would have been fantastic had we seen a clutch play come in there for the side of Team Tamilas. But of course, either way, still a really valiant effort coming in from them. Join me, Black, though, coming up with that chicken dinner, doing so with 6 kills. Absolutely phenomenal stuff. But we have to point out FaZe. They have just gone to town. Galaxy Racer also bringing in a pretty impressive 11 kills. But I mean, FaZe, what was that?
It's like they built up all the energy inside of them, and then they just let it explode out onto the entire Miramar field when it came to that game 4. And when it looks towards FaZe and how many kills they were able to pick up here, DK, in particular, FaZe just wiping through the entire lobby. Yes, they get 6th place, but they're totaling now 16 kills, 4 squad wipes worth of kills when it came to those final moments, even with the FaZe 6 Blue Zone helping out to secure that 16th kill onto Seal, who also making their way up to that 5th position. Seal proving themselves once again. Keep in mind, Seal also in the second game of Miramar did secure a 3rd overall position with 8 kills. So Miramar, definitely the map that Seal are supposed to be watching out for. But nevertheless, you cannot take away from how impressive it was for not only Johnny Black, but also Tamilas to make it through into the 2nd place, for also Galaxy Racer to once again secure a top 3 finish overall. And these 3 teams in particular, much needed points for them. Not only the kill points coming in, but more importantly, those placement points, which is something that we definitely were questioning with these top 3 coming into today.
I mean, absolutely fantastic showing coming in on the 2nd day. And what a way to end it off with an absolutely brutal play. Wow, that has just been setting the bar higher and higher as we continue through the games here. But of course, we've got one more day to go. I mean, Wolf, just judging on what we've seen today, the change from yesterday to today has already been pretty crazy. I mean, what could we be looking at in tomorrow's matches?
When it comes to tomorrow, definitely looking out to our top 2 teams, of course, Infinity, of also the side of FaZe. Keep in mind, Infinity going into this game, we're already sitting at 131 points. Whatever they pick up here should boost them relatively up towards that 140 mark. They're the highest when it comes to kill points in today, 40 kill points overall coming into that 4th match, as well as 40 placement points, 80 points in 3 games, by the way, when it came to those TPP matches. Yes, FaZe CLAN definitely not to be forgotten about. We know how strong they can be. But more importantly, when you look at the stats of these up-and-coming teams, Nova, they slip a little bit when it comes down towards Miramar. But yes, it was an overall good start from them. Potentially see them come back into the top 7, as well as BANGKRIRK, definitely also a team to be watching out for.
Yeah, definitely expecting a few dark horse plays to come in tomorrow as the teams face their final opportunity, their final chance to qualify for a position up in towards those grand finals. Only the top 7 teams will be moving through into the grand finals. Of course, quite some exciting gameplay still to come. But of course, join us back again tomorrow as we take you through the final day of the Group B preliminary round to see who will be the 7 teams to qualify. And of course, it is going to be absolutely insane action all around. So look forward to seeing you guys all back again tomorrow. Have a fantastic evening, and of course, stay safe.